barb guy and I gotta quit drinking.
It's starting to feel like a support group, isn't it? She's the president of the Colorado Music Association, and I'm Katey Laurel, a local singer-songwriter, performing artist, and I guess you could say I'm in the vein of Ingrid Michaelson meets Amy Mann. And so what I just kind of had you guys go through was give an elevator pitch, and that's the first thing that's really important in promoting your music, is being able to describe what you do in 30 seconds or less to somebody when they ask you. And so you guys all did a pretty great job. It's good to have a point of reference, like Stacey did a great job, and also Joe did a great job of dropping an example of who you might sound like. So that was really great. Thank you guys for, you obviously been studying your marketing stuff, and being able to describe what you do in a very short amount of time is pertinent. And you'll also want to be doing that in the emails that you send to any of these folks as well. It's good to have a couple of references, maybe ask your fans who they remind you of, and kind of come up with a cross-section of, so-and-so meets so-and-so in, and maybe another descriptive word as well. So Barb's put together a great list here, and I made some suggestions on it. Do you want to start off with Barb?
Now, somebody borrowed my Westwood. So we're going to start out with the most obvious, which is the bars and clubs. And everybody wants to know where to play at. So pick up a copy of Westward, and toward the back, this week's issue is page 45, starts with Backbeat, the music section. Okay, so you go through here, there's a ton of ads, okay, on all the bars and clubs that feel like they can afford to advertise in here. You can also kind of do the same thing with the Colorado Music Buzz. Let's start with here. As you get toward the back, there's a listing called, sorry, lots of ads. When it was bigger, the ads spread out. Yeah, so page 62, 63 says clubs listings. So start with those clubs. I was going to try to see if I could copy and paste from the Westward website, which would save you a ton of time. But I would go down and write down, put it in your computer, the name of the club, the address, the phone number, everything you can find out about it. Some of these will have band listings as the bands that are playing. You might recognize the names. And just say somebody come up and was a Michael Bublé type, and maybe you're more into heavy metal, you're probably going to waste your time going there. So go down. Here's a ton of places to kind of help you cross-reference. This will take time, but once you do it, once you set it up in your computer, then you have it, and you can make notes all the time. And so it saves you a lot of, so here's the, okay, so the first group is rock clubs. There's a whole slew of them. But you got to watch out, because you have everything from light alternative to heavy thrash. Jazz clubs, blues, dance clubs. Anybody in here into EDM? Okay, so you guys might be interested in that. Go in and talk to the DJ and see if he'll consider playing your music for you. Okay? So there's the first place to start as to where you can promote your music, your band, yourself, your artist, whoever it is that you're working with. Okay?
And does that listing have coffee houses too, and all different kinds of acoustic venues?
Not really. You can check and see. Most of these ads, in case you're not aware, run a ton of money. I mean, they are seriously, the little ad like this for a one-shot in the paper will run you $1,400. So most of the time your coffee houses won't advertise, because obviously they don't make that much money. But ask your friends. Watch on Facebook. Just say you know somebody that's playing. And frankly, what I used to do, I don't know about MySpace anymore, but I used to go into the MySpace account, look to see where they were playing, and I thought, if they're playing there, my band's going to want to play there. So start adding those to your list of places to play as well.
And I would say too, sign up for like eventful announcements for bands that are similar to you, or especially national acts if you're at the level where you're going to be possibly submitting to open for them to different clubs, and then you'll actually get a notification when those people are coming to town, or you can sign up for their mailing list. You can also sign up for the bigger club's mailing list to see what their upcoming calendar is, and if it's a few months out, like the Fox Theater or Boulder Theater, places like that, Ogden even, Their actual calendar will be a few months out, and if there's an act coming on their calendar that you think you might be a good fit for, then you can be more specific and requesting to be submitted for opening act consideration. And while most of those bands are either doing evening with, or or having their own tour support come with them, occasionally someone will be looking for a local opener, so you just have to kind of keep on that, and it's an ongoing process to keep submitting for those types of opportunities. Moving on to press, because we have so much to cover today, we'll just keep moving. Barb's made a list here of some of the local magazines and newspapers that might review your music. I don't know if Westward's doing reviews anymore. Last time I talked to the new publisher, or the new editor, he said they weren't doing reviews, but if you have a specific story going on, like maybe you're putting together a big event, it's a charity thing, there's got to be more of a story around it than just a release or a show. But you can, if you have an event like that going on, like maybe Teresa's doing a camp for children, which is something you did last summer, that might be something you might want to submit because it's more of a story than just an album release. We won't go through all these, you can just take your time and look these up online. You can also kind of go through and do your own Google search and try to find other small town newspapers, especially if you're going to be touring in a region or an area. Look up the press ahead of time.
Or if you came from a small town, they always are looking for news, and if you
That's
could say,
true.
I went to the big city and now I'm recording with somebody, here's my CD.
So this is just like a very, very brief overview of some of the press outlets that you can contact to notify them. The magazines, some of these are online and some of them are print magazines. Pace is actually not a Colorado magazine, it's a national magazine, but they tend to be into indie music and interested in addition to that, there's American Songwriter, and these are some more national ones that are going to be a little harder to get into to start off with. But these other ones like 5280 and 303 are local, and they may be interested in reviewing music. Do you want to talk about radio? You're kind of a radio expert.
Yeah, right. Stay away from the corporate stations, KYGO, Cool, all of them. They'll just, if you try to send them your CD, they'll just pitch it in the trash. All of their music programming comes out of Chicago or somewhere. And basically, they only play songs that are from bands that are signed with big name record labels. So try for your mom and pop stations. I did put on their radio locator there? There's a couple websites. You can go to them, punch in the town that you're interested in. In other words, like, say you're going from here to Glenwood Springs or Vail, and you just happen to have a nice little coffee shop gig there. Punch in that Vail, and it'll tell you the names of the radio stations there. So most of your mom and pop radio stations, Katey and I are both familiar with KCRT and KBKZ down in Trinidad and Raton. Those guys are so open to unsigned original bands. Power Surge on KCRT does a specific show on Friday nights, and Bob, I think, has the neatest format, and I wish more stations would do it. But what he does is he mixes well-known bands, like here's a Metallica song, here's the unsigned band song, here's the Sepultura song, here's the unsigned band song. It's great. Most of the time, unless you're really familiar with the music, you have absolutely no idea, you know, who's the signed band and who isn't, you know. So talk to your mom and pop stations, and this is what we call the Terra lines, the ones that are land and actually have something on the radio dial. Michelle?
I was going to say 93.3 will take your local music, and he'll play it. His name is Alf.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking
Oh,
about.
okay, yeah, and he'll play it. He actually played our music. So.
Yeah, and that's what I think I've got a note in there saying absolutely do not send him any hard rock or metal. He wants alternative genres. He'll take some light jazz and stuff like that, but on the whole, he's light rock.
And
Who should get those?
They're all up here.
Oh, great.
Did you
And
sign
on
in?
the same topic too, KBCO has a local edition of your music's AAA format, which is adult album alternative, which is a little more of your, you know, your Jack Johnson, John Mayer types and things like that. KTCL is a little bit harder. We're not talking like hard rock, but they're more alternative. And like right now they're playing a lot of 90s music and alternative music basically. There's also, Alice used to, I'm not sure if they still do, but Alice 1059 also, Samuel I think used to have a local show. Most of these local shows are on Sunday nights at 10 o'clock. And the reason that they can do that is because they're commercial stations and they have to appeal to the commercial market, and therefore they're beholden to advertisers. And long story short, they want to play hit songs because they're jingles for jingles to keep people listening to the radio. So that's why the 10 o'clock p.m. Sunday night is not a prime slot for them to be advertising, so they'll take more risks and play new music. There is KGNU is a AAA station. AAA is a little more adventurous, and especially if they're a non-commercial station, which a lot of your college stations and public radio stations are non-commercial, they have a little more leeway to play unsigned artists and kind of take risks with new music. So KGNU is one. Kuvo, I believe, is a non-com. Is that a non-com AAA station?
Yeah, Johnny, didn't you used to DJ at Kubo?
Both of them, KGNU and Kubo.
Okay, so Kuvo is a jazz station, but they also have an HD station on the other part of the dial called the other side of Kubo. That's more of like an eclectic AAA station. So I'm gonna write that down. Actually, the other side. That's another.
What's KGNU? I missed the genre.
Oh, I'm sorry. KGNU is a non-commercial AAA station, so yes, it would be a good option for pushing.
PBS roughly.
Yeah. So they're basically like NPR would be a non-commercial AAA format.
So with Kubo, do you have to, like, is it the same website that is, or is it a different
I would
website?
contact the program director there and tell them that you're interested in submitting for the other side.
Just poke in the searches, put Katie, yeah, Johnny, you might know that.
Good night.
Carlos Landos is the guy to get a hold of, but sometimes he's elusive.
Johnny, is there also a guy named George at Kubo? I feel like I emailed someone named George.
Yeah, okay, you got a better one, because Carlos is very elusive.
I think George is doing the other side. KRFC is another non-commercial AAA station, and they are really, really locally supportive. Thank you.
And Johnny's really good about taking your music.
Excellent. Yeah, Johnny's on the list here. Johnny Johnson in Revision 3.
I love interviewers bands, so if you like being interviewed, let me get it.
Thanks. So KRFC also has a live performance program for local artists called Live at Lunch. You can submit for that, and it's usually a noon hour, like about 45-minute to 1 hour performance. So that's something you guys can do to actually play live on air to promote your music. It's great to do if you're going to do a show in Fort Collins because they're a Fort Collins station, and obviously you want to appeal to the Fort Collins audience to kind of let them know that your gig is going to be happening. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, then actually there's a link here for that.
Yeah, she said send her stuff through the link. Don't try calling her, directly email or something. Go in there and fill out the form, and then she'll get hold of you.
Excellent. And there are a whole lot of other non-commercial AAA stations. If that's something that your music fits, you might want to look into getting on a sampler or something like that. It gets a little bit more expensive because you have to pay for a slot, but if you want your music to go to all of those stations outside of Colorado. Speaking of the AAA stations as well, Chris K has a radio show called The Colorado Sound. Is that on here?
Yep.
Okay. And he actually is syndicated on a number of different radio stations. He also does paid promotions to all Colorado radio stations, and he's been in that side of the business for a long time and has a lot of contacts. So if you want to do a campaign to kind of get all your music out to all of the Colorado stations, Chris K is a great guy to talk to do that.
Okay, you said sample?
There are samplers, but they're more on a national. They're more on a national level, so it'd be like there used to be one called A Taste of AAA. He's gone out of business, but there's one called Direct Current, and there's one called FMQB. They're a little bit more expensive. They're probably $500 to $1,000 to buy a track and then have it sent out to the group. Or you
It's
could,
like a compilation CD.
yes, you would buy a track. You would buy a spot on there, so your song goes out on the samplers, all the stations.
So does KBCO's sampler go out to all the stations nationwide, or is it just Colorado?
KBCO does I think they do more like what is their live performance channel? Like a Studio C but that's not really a sampler. That's not something you can buy a spot on.
Okay, didn't they have sampler CDs?
They probably have a sampler CD that they put together that they sell to the general public, but that's not what we're talking. We're talking about an industry sampler where you buy a spot on a CD that actually goes out to all the different stations. And that's more like when you're getting to the level where you're gonna promote your music nationally.
I got you.
Cool.
Okay, and one of Carmen Allgood, the reason the show is called the Colorado Wave is because she used to live in Evergreen. Hi, Lori. Did you bicycle from Boulder?
Well, bus and then like,
Oh. Sorry, I can just see her going down I-36. Anyway, Carmen has since moved, but she's still very much a part of the unsigned original music. Absolutely love it. She does ask a small fee. I think it's $10, $2 a song, or $10 for like 5 songs or something like that. $2.50 a song. I haven't checked it out lately.
a little bit, just want to make sure I'm at the right spot. Where am I at?
Oh, we were just skipping around.
There,
So.
it just went down to internet stations, because we just talked about the
Oh, okay.
other ones.
Yeah, we went to-
I'm just trying to make notes and make it lazy.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Quick question, Kyle Dyer is now reviewing music at Channel 9?
Is that John?
She has been.
Really?
Lori.
Yeah.
Damn
Well,
right.
you should do a story on the.
Yeah.
Or she does the story, okay.
Anyway, Carmen's show goes to about 200 of the mom and pop stations across the United States and a couple in Europe. So even though she asks the $10, it's really well worth it. And what she has to do for your $10 is she really has to go through and listen to every song, make sure you don't have funny little words in there. She has to time them out if you don't already have the time on your CD, which we kind of covered at the program last week, how important this timing on your CD is so that radio people will know how long your song is. And then she's able to put it on there. She's actually had a couple of people who've been nominated for Grammys from her show, Jennifer Fills and then somebody else. And,
Lisa, maybe?
Pardon?
Lisa, maybe? Bill?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think Castle Rock Radio might be out of business. I haven't.
No, I just got their number.
You did?
Yeah,
Okay.
I looked them up. So some of these are new and some of them are old. Take your chances. Sorry, I tried to get to doing all of them
I actually
updated,
will.
but-
I actually did go through an email that there's a little later in here. I'll tell you guys which one's bounced for me, so you can make a note.
Yeah.
The television, Channel 9 also, sometimes the programming people will use songs for bumpers on the news or the weather. So you can contact them and ask about submitting. I would say only submit your best song, because chances are they're pretty selective about what they're going to play on Channel 9, but they do use local music sometimes. Channel 2, do they ever use local music on Good Day Colorado? Or
Yeah, they were there for a long time, and then I didn't get a chance to look it up to see if they were still or not.
And some of these stations have also done live performance pieces in the past as well. I don't think any of them are doing them currently. Channel 9 used to have Peacock Cafe, Channel 2 used to do Daybreak on the Days, I think is what it was called.
Right, and then they got sold to somebody and that kind of.
Right, but just kind of keep an eye out. You guys, if you ever watch TV, kind of keep an eye out. If any of that stuff pops back up, then that's when you jump on it and you contact it. Hey, I see you're doing live performances. I'd like to submit as a local artist.
Do you know, is it Kirk Montgomery?
Yeah, Kurt from Channel 9, yeah.
Yeah, did he start?
No, he transferred to Minneapolis. And a lot of the reason I got some of this stuff on here is just to kind of trigger your memory and for you to check into it. Because things come and go all the time. I mean, Channel 2 may not be doing anything right now, but who knows? You know, come Monday, the station manager may walk in and say, hey, I decide we're gonna do a local live music thing for 5 minutes at 6:55 in the morning or something, you know, so.
And I mean, this is a great resource. There may be some mistakes in here, but just the list itself to kind of get you brainstorming and moving on some things to start getting your music plugged into opportunities is really, really helpful. 'Cause I know when I first got started, it was just sitting down and brainstorming, like, where do I even start with these things?
Are you going to talk at all about what would be a good press kit, so to speak,
Well, we can
send
go
out?
back over that
Yeah,
for you if you
I
want.
think it's a really important part, because you can send out a lot lot of stuff.
You know a lot about this actually because you're kind of working in the management stuff. Do you want to share a little bit? I'll put you on the spot.
Well, I just think it's very important to realize when you're sending things out, that you're presenting yourself in a professional manner. I mean, you definitely want to have a CD. What Barbara was saying, that each song definitely has to have the time there, and the more you describe what you sound like, and maybe even direct them towards, this would be a good song for this kind of time of day or whatever you're going through. And also having one page shouldn't be too much. They don't want to know your whole life story. They want to know some basic facts that will easily get them to say yay or nay. Otherwise, if they see a truckload of reading, they might even actually pitch you away because they're like, oh, that's going to take too long to go through. I'm not even interested.
Sometimes they don't even want hard copy, they don't want packages, they don't even want,
They want
they want links.
True.
Have that changed,
So-
just because the industry's.
Best thing to do is
It
contact
depends
them
on
and
the,
ask them.
it totally depends on, for example, with radio stations, it really depends on what they want. Sometimes you have to do it through their portal, sometimes you have to just send them, like Alf wants emails, he doesn't, well, he may also, I don't think so though, I think it's mostly.
He said the
I
other
just
day,
submitted recently and I don't, I can't, I think
you
it's all
wanted
email.
MP3s.
Yeah, it's all email.
But you still should
but
have a
Al-
picture of yourself and tell about
Yeah.
yourself. I mean, it's the same thing.
So maybe a basic cover letter, if you will, but not a book.
I would say have an
Do they
electronic.
accept YouTube? I mean.
You know, the best thing to do is talk to them first. Send them a quick email saying, I'd like to send you an EPK. What are you looking for? You know? And can I send you a YouTube video through that? A lot of them don't want them, the attachments and stuff, because of all the funny little things that go through anymore. You know, so check with them first. And in the first place, you're saving yourself a lot of time and trouble. If they don't want anything, then you're fine.
And you probably won't hear, I mean, there are a lot of times when you just won't hear anything, and that's just the nature of the industry. Don't take it as rejection. People don't have time to respond to everything. So they will contact you if they're interested. I will say it's a really good idea to have a professional looking electronic press kit, whether that's at Sonic Bids or Reverb Nation or your own site that you choose to build. Have a few copies of a hard copy press kit, which usually will have your CD, a photo of some sort, a collection of press quotes, and maybe a list of some of the places that you've played or awards that you've won or things like that. I wanted to add too, while we're on the television part of this, that there are a couple of live performance programs that people have put together. There was CET, Comcast Entertainment Television, and I know because I hosted that last season for 13 episodes, but I don't think that they're
No,
doing it.
I just checked it.
You did?
It's there.
Someone told me they weren't. Okay.
Yeah,
I haven't been
put the
contacted
information.
about it.
You had a question back here, or?
I did. Back on the radio, sorry. I didn't get you in time for you to see. Do any of the stations here, all of my experience has mostly been in Texas, and then I spent some time in Nashville, so I'm truly new to Denver.
Right.
Is there any openness to, and when I say traditional country, I'm talking like Ray Benson of Asleep at the Wheel did a duet with me on my first record. So twin fiddle, steel guitar, not what's on the radio today that's being classified as country.
Probably Americana, and
Okay.
some of the AAA stations have, or some of them have an Americana show. You might want to talk to Chris K. At
Okay.
Colorado Sound. He would be your best bet.
KG&U.
KG, and you would be interested in that too?
Okay.
A lot of those AAA stations are pretty wide format, meaning that they'll play Americana and
Sure.
traditional country as well as some like electronica. I mean, it's all across the board. The other side, on Kubo, the other side, you'll hear a bluegrass song followed by a dance track. I mean, it's really that eclectic.
Okay, thank you.
And you might want to look into and contact, I'm not sure, they're not a lot, they're a really commercial station and they're really, really high in the rankings of commercial stations, but KYGO is our big country station here.
Did you already?
Monday morning, on KUHS, there's a country show there, and he'll love to bring you in and interview at the same time.
Okay, awesome.
And while we're on KYGO, they're doing something, because the Facing West,
Oh, they're
Powell
doing a
Sisters,
songwriting Wednesday.
Songwriting Wednesday. And what they want you to do is go in there pretty bright and early, and
You write a
And then
song.
Right.
and they
with
help you
listener
write a song
suggestions, yes.
through listener suggestions.
It's usually like really slapstick.
It's funny,
Yeah.
it's comedy, but
Oh,
if you're a quick
okay.
songwriter and you are country, then you might be a good fit for it.
Awesome,
What's
thank
that
you so much.
station?
KYGO.
KYGO.
Did you already mention
Country.
And then
CPR?
Pardon?
Did you already mention CPR?
CPR?
Colorado Public Radio.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Public Radio has
Oh,
a
you already talked?
Open air. No, a
open air.
little bit.
Yeah, is that on here?
Yeah.
Did anybody see it? If not,
So sorry, I'm so got in my throat.
Want us to whack you in the back, good?
So, real quick, on
Get that frog going
KYGO,
down.
that's Wednesday morning?
Wednesday morning.
yes. And also KCRT or KB, what's the other called?
KBKZ. Oh,
KBKZ, your music would be great for them. They're in Trinidad.
Trinidad.
Okay.
KBKZ.
Somewhere I got the
KCRT.
websites on.
Casey, so is that metal, hard rock specifically? KCRT?
KCRT is more classic rock, so your songs would fit really good there, and they would play them more.
But,
Is the KBKZ on here?
KBKZ, I don't know, it's
here
KCRT's
it
sister.
said metal, hard rock, is that correct?
That's KCRT
Okay.
Power Surge on Friday night only, but they will play classic rock during the rest of the time. KBKZ
KBKZ.
is the country station.
Oh,
It's
that's-
technically licensed out of Raton, but they're all in the same building in Trinidad.
And there's also a country station about a Vale called Ski, I think it's Vale called Ski Country, and I know the program director there, so if you want, get in touch with me later.
Okay.
I know there's not very many country people in here
And
today.
for the hell of it, as long as we're on country, KRTN and Raton will play original music.
I'm glad I asked,
But
thanks.
they're in New Mexico, and this was, I focused this on Colorado.
Sure.
The KRTN in New Mexico will play original songs, as long as the recording is good.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent.
Those are the mom and pop stations, going back to them. Like I said, if you get in there and you click on something and it pops up Lincoln, just forget about it, you're wasting your time, shut it down, go
Lincoln
on.
Financial Group?
Lincoln Financial Group owns a lot of radio stations.
Clear Channel, for that matter.
Clear Channel. Clear
Hi,
Channel.
Although some of the Clear Channel stations will
Hi.
have us like a Sunday local edition kind of thing, so don't be afraid to contact people, you just may not
Yeah.
get very far.
Radio program. What did you say, Johnny?
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio?
You can upload things there, can't you, Johnny?
Yeah.
Do they have, it used to be
Really?
called something else, but there is like an independent upload online.
Aren't they part of Lincoln Financial though?
They,
But that
I
would
think
be
it's
an
Clear Channel.
online thing.
Oh.
I'm talking
Oh, okay.
terrorist stations.
I got you.
A lot of your internet stations and that don't really have the same rules and regulations as landlines do, so.
Oh.
okay. Are we good to move back to the live performance programs? Yes. Okay, so Second Story Garage is one that they're doing out of Boulder and Longmont. They said they were taking a break until this fall or winter, so they're probably starting up again.
What page is this on?
That's a lot of your station.
Where was the channel? Page
Four.
4.
Page 4.
What's their channel, what we're doing that channel 12 thing? Denver Loft Sessions on page 2, that's another one.
And they're very active.
If you guys have a really good
Denver
Denver
Loft
Loft
Sessions.
Sessions on the bottom of page 2. If your live performance is pretty polished and you're ready to like go on TV, local TV with it, Loft Sessions, CET, and Altitude all have live performance programs you can submit for with your band or performance. Does anybody have any questions about that?
And they would probably want your YouTube video, so.
Yeah, they want to see a live performance, so make sure you have a good video of a, like, even if you have an official music video that's not you performing, it's really good to have a live performance video too for any kind of live booking situations. People are gonna wanna see what your look and sound like live. Even
Make
if it's
sure,
not super pro, even if it's an iPhone one, make sure you have something that is you performing live.
use like my camera, but make sure the lighting is good and make sure you have close-ups on the performers. None of this 5,000 mile back stuff. Yeah, we'll go for about 5 or 10 more minutes and then we'll take a real quick break, okay?
So on,
Tell me what page we're on.
okay, we're on page 4.
Yeah.
Finishing up the TV related portion. I also wanted to say on there that it's not related to TV, but you could always contact Colorado Film School and find out if their students are doing a film that they might need to license music for. Even if you do a pro bono license, since they're a student, they don't have money, it might be a way for you to start getting some exposure for your music. So that's a place that you could contact people to promote your music.
Yeah, and I totally skipped over that. In fact, the Colorado Film Commission has been doing a lot of promotion. This week is the Colorado Film Week, and so they were talking about all the movies that are being made in Colorado, and hopefully they've got some more coming up. And so you might want to get involved with them, at least get on their mailing list, same deal. You may have a song that's going to be just absolutely perfect for something that they've got coming up, and you need to contact them as well to see if they would be interested in that.
Yeah, I would say go to film festivals if you can and meet the filmmakers, because a lot of the people that are at the festival are obviously presenting their
What you know,
work.
what's who you know.
And if you meet these independent filmmakers, you don't know who they're going to become or where they're going to go, and it's great to make contacts with them when they're at this level, because much like we're all independent artists, some of us rise to different levels, and the same thing happens in the film community, so it's good to know those people.
But now's the time to get a hold of it, because it takes months to,
It's more of an ongoing relationship
Right.
to build with people, because it might be 5-10 years down the road from now that someone uses one of your songs. It's not like,
right.
okay, we have the perfect song right now, this minute. It's more of an ongoing relationship that we want to build.
Right.
Moving on to festivals, I'm not going to hit every single one of these items. You guys can do some research on the TV stuff and find the things that are an appropriate fit for you. So festivals are another way you can promote your music, and there's a lot of opportunities to play in festivals here in Colorado. A couple of the big ones are Underground Music Showcase, which Denver Post sponsors, of course, the Westward Music Showcase. Barb's put a couple other ones on here, Taste of Colorado, People's Fair, Rock and Roll Marathon. There used to be one called, was it Rocky Mountain Music Festival? Is that on here?
Somewhere it's on there, but it's.
Oh, because they do a battle.
thing.
They used to
Yeah.
book, but now it's a battle of the bands to play it. But I'll go ahead and write it on here.
Yeah, it's in there.
Higher ground.
Higher Ground.
Higher ground.
Higher ground does, takes local acts too.
And I think there's a new one called Sunnyside Festival.
And
there's a lot of smaller ones.
Ned Fest up in Netherland.
There's a lot of smaller neighborhood ones, and you guys might be familiar with those from just being in your neighborhood, like Highland Street Fair, Gaylord Street Festival, Pearl Street Farmers Market. There's a lot of other things that you can check out in your part of the town. We didn't list all of them, but
The
look into festivals.
Boulder, those things.
I think the Golden Triangle does something.
Okay. Boulder Creek does one.
The Golden Triangle thing, I think they are no longer doing it.
Oh, they're no
They
longer.
lost their sponsor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I will say that now is the time to start researching those, and you're gonna wanna start submitting for them in November, December, and January, because they book up for that pretty quickly.
Well, and the People's Fair is an audition thing. You have to have your application in like by the middle of January. So if you wanna play the People's Fair, get your application in. And basically what they do is they throw all the things in one of those turntables and pull them out. And, you know, you kinda have to be cautious about them, and the Taste of Colorado, they have very few slots open. What they do is they take bands from the previous years that have played, give them the first opportunity. If they wanna play, then that slot is filled. If for some reason, maybe the band's broken up, or they moved on to other things or something, their slot becomes open, and then that's what the audition process is for then.
There's a lot. No.
The People's Fair does not pay. The Taste of Colorado did pay,
They do.
but I understand that they've really cut back on how much they paid. Plus, they're also doing more like 3-4 set bands instead of the 45-minute band. So that's a real big problem. If they've got their favorite country band, then that band will play for 3 sets and technically taking up 2 other slots, you know.
And Barb is being honest that the slots are really limited, and like in my case, I just played Taste of Colorado last year. I've been trying to get that gig for 8 years, so don't be disappointed if you don't get it right away. It may take a while for you to kind of be in the system before you can get those gigs.
booking that
It's Pat Emerine. He's doing Taste of Colorado now.
Oh, yeah, write that down. Pat.
What's his agency?
What's that?
What's his agency called?
It's called, is it Emerine Productions or Pat Emerine Productions or something? You can find them online. Google for them. And he's also always at the next thing we're gonna talk about, which is the Colorado Performing Arts Jamboree. Be a great place to meet him. So they always do a jamboree, it's a booking trade show basically on a small scale, and it's always in January. And the buyers from a lot of small towns that are doing summer concert series and library performances and performing arts centers and things like that, a whole bunch of them come to it. So you have like basically your own little trade show booth where you set up your marketing materials and meet the buyers. And they'll come around and take your press kit or your CD, and then they're programming sometimes, mostly for next summer, but some of them are already booking a year or two out. So it's a good time to kind of get in that pipeline.
too?
No, but he's always there, is what I'm saying. He's always there with a table. And
Well, he's looking for talent too. He's a talent buyer, so he would go to the Colorado.
And that's actually run by Jim Schwarzkopf, who used to be the guy that booked Taste of Colorado. He actually runs just the Performing Arts Jamboree now, and it's out at the Jefferson County Fairgrounds in the exhibit hall. And I believe that applications will be coming up for that really soon. So go to the website and make sure that you get the application.
We always,
People will be
we
doing
put it on the combo website too, along
Yeah.
with the link, so.
It's really affordable. It's $40 or $60, I think, to have a table there, and you'll meet a lot of people. So.
I've contacted quite a few. It's hard to find information on their websites, or I'm not getting responses, so I never
Right.
know what that
There's
I
is.
ran into that
there's
too
a
with a lot of
guy
these
from-
festivals.
Well, Doug Garvey can talk to him.
Well, but there's a guy that books all that, and I think he's out of state. So you'll have to ask them who it is.
Which
I
one
think it was
did you
John, but I
So,
don't know.
stay afterwards and I'll give you
Okay.
Doug Garvey's name.
Great.
And
Yeah.
Doug does a singer-songwriter night at the state fair.
But it's
Okay.
free.
But, huh?
It's free.
It's free, it doesn't pay, no, what I'm saying is Doug knows the people to talk to.
I've done the paid gig at the fair, and it was like
Johnny?
$15.
And did you cover this list? This is a
So-
guy, when
so, but
I
you'll
was
have to
booking
contact the guy
my
that's-
artists in, like in
Colorado
the northern
State
part,
Yeah.
and
I
up in,
emailed them this week.
what is it?
There's
Not Las
there's a
Vegas,
guy, though.
but,
Okay.
what is that thing that they
John.
play, the,
Just
Okay.
contact me later.
they gamble?
Oh, the casinos?
Yeah, and this guy had those places locked up, where you have to go through him.
Yeah, Michael
And
Tallarico.
there's no way to
Yeah.
find the
Yeah,
guy.
So did you cover that and anything?
Not
else?
yet.
Yeah, okay.
I think that actually just talking about the fairs, and to answer your question too, a lot of a lot of the county fairs go to this jamboree. Not a lot of them, but some of them do. The
And
buyers
I meant
for
to
the
bring a
fairs.
booklet, they do put out a booklet, this is the year to put out, that they're gonna put out the booklet. So you want to get listed in the booklet
At the
The jamboree.
at this Colorado Performing Arts Jamboree.